Welcome back to the Green Beans Go channel. It's your host, me, here for our weekly NFL spreads, totals, and money line picks. Last week we went 8-8 on the spread, 10-6 on totals, and 8-8 on the money line. We kind of had the inverse of what we had week one, in that we won on money line spread, lost on totals. This week we lost pretty much the juice on the spread, and we had our biggest week by far in totals, won, and we lost big on the money line. A lot of upsets, specifically the Packers, and I was on the Raiders as an upset, I think. So just not the best week for me there, but we have a cushion with two really strong weeks prior to that. So overall, if you would follow all of my picks at one unit, you would be up 5 on the spread, 1.8 on total, and 8.89 on money line. So we are doing well. We are picking well. But just remember that I am no expert. I'm not claiming to be an expert. This is for fun. I love the NFL. It is my favorite professional league, and I like talking about it. So let's talk about it. We'll start with the game on Thursday night, Arizona, NFC West battle. And I like Seattle on the money line. I like them on the -1 spread. I think they will do just enough. I think 23-16 is about where I see this game. I just believe the difference maker in this one is going to be the Seahawks defense. I know they haven't faced too many challenges, but they looked pretty darn good against Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. They looked really good last week, albeit against Spencer Rattler. And their offense is also clicking, and Sam Darnold is looking just as good as he did in Minnesota. So I have more confidence in Seattle coming into this game than I do with Arizona, who loses James Conner for the year last week. I just think the Cardinals struggled to score, and that's the difference in this one. So I like Seattle in a somewhat close, low-scoring game. I think it's close to that total of 43.5, but I lean the under there. Also, if you want to sign up for Novig, it is probably the place with the best NFL odds, top to bottom, money line spreads, and totals. You can use my code GMGO, and if you're in one of these states, it is available. So it is just like any other sports book where odds are provided. The only difference is that you're playing against someone directly. Someone has to bet the other side for you to be able to bet that side. There is no house, which is how you can get these good lines, but sometimes markets aren't available. However, for NFL, tons of people are betting NFL. There is always a market available if you want to do that. Now we have an early game, Sunday, 9:30 a.m. This is, I believe, in Germany. And we have two teams that I am perplexed about, confused with. Carson Wentz looked good against the Cincinnati Bengals, and the Pittsburgh Steelers defense gives him an opportunity this week to look good again. I do trust Minnesota's defense more than Pittsburgh's defense in this one, but I trust Pittsburgh's offense more than I trust Minnesota's offense in this one. Minnesota also gets back Jordan Addison, which should help their passing game. All of that to say, I think the over 40.5 would be the place if I had to bet any of these three things that I put my money on. I will not be doing that at all, because sometimes these weird early Germany games, we see them consistently go under. I don't know if I buy into that. I don't know how much that actually affects the travel, and the changing of schedule actually affects these players. I'm not here to sit here and say that it will, but I'm saying it is a factor. We are human. It's something weird about this. I think last week's Minnesota win, blowout win of the Bengals, was a bit fluky, just slightly fluky. And I think the Steelers have veterans. Mike Tomlin knows how to get a team ready for a road trip like this. Aaron Rodgers will be like, I just trust the poise and the experience of the Steelers a little bit more here. So if I had to take anybody on the money line, it would be the Steelers at the +130, but I do think this is a close game. I think over is the best place to be. Game in Atlanta. What are we doing, guys? Are they tricking us? I look at this line, and after a 30-0 loss to the Carolina Panthers, the Falcons go into a game at home against one of the top 4 strongest teams in the NFC, most likely, and they are barely an underdog. Barely an underdog. I'll tell you, I am perplexed. Jaden Daniels says he's good to go, but he says it's not up to me, it's up to the trainers. We'll see what happens with him. I like the Commanders on the money line here. Again, people talk about trap lines. Oh, is this? I'm not buying into all that. I got to trust what I see here, and it's a Commanders team that is been consistent and stronger than the Falcons team. So 1.5, 114 on the money line, and I do like the under in that one. Game in New York, Jackson Dart is making his first NFL start, and Dable said today he will be the starter for the remainder of the year, which is a bizarre thing to say before the guy has even thrown a true starting QB pass in the NFL. We're just saying these absolutes that Jackson Dart is the guy for the next 14 games. Okay, fine. I guess if that's what gives a guy confidence to go in and know that he's got a long rope and he can make mistakes, maybe it's a psychological thing. I'm okay with it, I suppose. Maybe it is a good thing. I just think it's a little bit bizarre. All that to be said, Chargers' hottest team in the league, besides maybe the Colts in terms of like expectations coming into the year and what we've seen. They've had 3 divisional opponents, and now they go across the country to a very weak opponent with a rookie who's getting his first start, and the Chargers bring with them one of the most consistent defenses of this season. So I like the Chargers on the money line. I like -6, and I just think under 44.5 is a great spot here. I think the Giants really rely on their defense, and I think their defense is the best asset of this team, top to bottom. And the Chargers, while they have been able to score points, their defense is allowing them the opportunity to not have to do that. So I think we get a very low-scoring game here, and I'll take the Chargers by 6 and on the money line. Game in Houston is another tricky spot. I don't think Houston has done much to deserve 7.5 points against anyone. I realize the Titans have not done anything to deserve anything less than 7.5 points. So unstoppable force versus an immovable object here. The Titans have allowed 30 points in their last 2 and have scored 20 in their last 2. So they've been playing some really high-scoring games, and you get a total that's bizarrely low, 38.5. I believe it's the lowest on the entire slate. Their defense, that is the Houston Texans defense, has looked strong. They just cut C.J. Gardner-Johnson, a cornerback, this week based on things he was saying in the locker room and behind the scenes. Not really because of his play. It could have been because of his play, but this is a starting corner and a guy that had success in Philadelphia. So, I'm not going to speak too much of that because I don't know all the metrics of his actual performance, but he's a starting NFL corner that they just said, to heck with you because of things that are happening off the field. So maybe there's some opportunities there for Tennessee's passing game to get going. It's a divisional matchup. All those things said, I think the Titans could play this one close or get a backdoor cover here with 7.5, and I like the over 38.5. Game of Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay has beaten the Jets. They've beaten the Texans. They've beaten the Falcons. It's not a strong resume. You look at the Chiefs. They've beaten the Cowboys. They've beaten the Rams, okay, and they've beaten the Chiefs, okay. I just think Tampa Bay comes in a little bit more seasoned, a little bit more poised. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have had a lot stacked up against them. They're going to be without Mike Evans. I just think this is where we start to see some cracks and it's harder to see cracks against the Jets and the Texans and the Falcons, but when the 3-0 Super Bowl defending Eagles walk into your stadium, I think things change. So I'll take the over here. I'll take 3.5. I'll take -185 on the money line. I think this is where we see the Buccaneers show their first real true sign of weakness this season. Game in New England. Bryce Young might look like Bama Bryce in this one. We might be seeing 2018 Bryce Young under Nick Saban's command. I don't know the exact years that he played there, but I am not impressed with this Steelers played them last week. I'm not impressed with the Patriots defense. And the Patriots are a team that struggled with the Dolphins. They struggled with Pittsburgh, and they struggled with Las Vegas. They win one of those 3 games, barely. They could very easily be 0-3. They kind of defeated themselves against Pittsburgh with the 5 turnovers. But with the momentum that Carolina comes into this game with, having beaten the Falcons 30-0, the confidence and the knowingness of facing a fairly soft defense, I think this 202 plus 5.5 is good. That's the side I would be on. The Patriots have given me nothing to really say, yeah, I'm going to take the Patriots 5.5 points this year. So I'll ride the momentum. It may be stupid. It may be close. So narrow-minded based on very recent results, which is not always the best way to bet, but it's how I feel about these teams. I'll also take the over. Game in Buffalo, what an absolutely wild line. 16.5 is 3 scores, 2 touchdowns and a field goal. That's in NFL terms, that's nuts. So I am taking the Saints only because that number is ridiculous. I'll take the under 48.5, but of course I would take the Bills. I'm not going to pick the Saints to upset the Bills. I'm not a total idiot. I'm a partial idiot in backing the Saints on the spread. 13.5, I'm more comfortable with that number. 16.5, yeah, you're getting up there. Let's not get cute. These are 2 professional teams. We saw what Cleveland did last week. Let's have a little bit of class here. 16.5 for the Saints. Game of Detroit, I will take Detroit 8.5. I'm staring in the face of the upset alert Cleveland Browns. I get that. There was also a very cheap middle today that I took. I took 8.5 on ESPN. I put $100 on that, and I took the Novig, who had the Browns, plus 9.5 at minus 102. I put like 105 on that, whatever it was on that to balance it out. And I'm going to lose $5 as a $5 wager. And if the Detroit Lions win by exactly 9, I'll win 200 and some bucks. I don't know if that's plus EV, how often do teams, but if we assume that these markets are incredibly efficient, I'll bet $5 to win $200 that the Lions get really close to covering that. And 9 is a good football number too. The 9 is a relatively safe sort of number that occurs with touchdowns being 6, extra points 1, and field goals 3. So all that to say, I like Detroit. I think they have some crazy momentum after last week. Not that the Browns don't in their big upset win over the Packers, but I think the Lions at home are just a stronger team than the Packers were last week on the road. Give me the over as well. Game in San Francisco, I'll tell you, this is bold. And somebody asked, what's bold mean? Bold means I'm making a bold prediction. Bold means I'm not going to play this officially because I kind of like what we're doing here, just giving you ideas and letting you marinate in all of this and pick and choose what you want. But I'm saying if I were to give an official play, the under in this one is where I feel we would be. I think the Jaguars are an underwhelming team. And I think if San Francisco is going to walk away with a win in this one, it's going to have to be on the back of their defense, who did lose Joey Bosa last week. Big loss, but I'm going to assume there's some people that can step up in his absence. 47.5 is a lot of points. It's a lot of points for a team in San Francisco that has looked strong in its ability to contain opponents. And Jacksonville, who, besides their game in Cincinnati, which was pretty high scoring, has also played in some pretty low scoring games. So I do think this one will be close. I do think this one will be tight. I'll take the Jags on the spread at 3.5, but I'll take San Francisco on the money line, and I like the under. I think this is a 21-17, 20-17, 24-21. Like, that's kind of where I see this game ending up. Game in LA, probably the game I'm most excited about this week, just because we get to see 2 teams that are exceeding expectations face each other. The Colts are doing it against pretty bad teams. The Rams kind of did it against bad teams as well with the Texans and with the Titans. They played Philly pretty strong until the last 2 seconds of the game. So this one will be awesome. I think defense in this one is the difference, and I think the Colts defense will come in stronger. I don't love that it's on the road. If this game was flipped, I would feel more confident. But I'm going to trust it. I'm going to trust what Shane Steichen has been able to do with this Colts team. I'm going to trust what Danny Dimes has been able to do with this Colts team. Give me the Colts on the spread, and I'll take the upset on the money line with the Indianapolis Colts. I also like the under. Again, I think this is a defensive game, and you're getting 50.5. So a very potent offense. Both of these teams have shown fairly aggressive and potent offenses, but I think we're going to see the defenses be the difference in this one. That's where I feel. Game in Las Vegas, this is a get-right spot, not a ger-right spot. It's a get-right spot for the Raiders, but I'm not so sure they're going to be able to get right. The Bears come in with a ton of momentum, and Ben Johnson, who I've been speaking about as the ex-offensive coordinator for the Lions, got it figured out against Dallas. Anybody can probably get it figured out against Dallas, but I like the Bears again as the underdog. on the road, and I also like the under in this one, under 48.5. Game in Kansas City, a fantastic game. Really poor both of these teams, but poor Ravens. Having to face the Lions, having to face the Bills, having to face the Chiefs in 4 games. And if you watched any of my preseason content, I mentioned this, and I said I like the Bengals to win this division because of how rough the Ravens' schedule is. Well, unfortunately, Joe Burrow gets injured, so we can kiss that, take it goodbye. But point still stands. I'll take the Ravens here. I think they're more tested in this one. I think they're more hungry in this one. And although their defense has been playing poorly, I think they will do what they need to do to avoid going 1-3. And I think that the Chiefs will walk out of this game going 1-3. 48.5, I think, is too high. I'll take the under here as well. It is a total. It's a tricky total because of the inability the Ravens have had to stop any offense. But the Chiefs have really shown an inability to provide offense. They've looked stagnant outside of Mahomes using his feet, which has really been the best part of this offense, the most productive part. There's lack of chemistry in some of these wide receivers. I mean, Tyquan Thornton has come into his own. He's probably been the best target for Mahomes in recent weeks. So a lot of question marks, and I think the under is the side, and I think the Ravens find a way to get it done. Then we have 3 primetime games. This is Sunday Night Football, and then we have 2 on Monday night. So we'll start with Sunday night. Packers with the rebound. I wouldn't bet on this. I'm saying good luck because I have no idea what to do with this game. I know one thing for sure. Dallas defense is bad. They're going to be without CeeDee Lamb as well, a very big playmaker on their team. I'll take the Packers. It's a tricky spot because of what we saw last week. But if there's anything a team wants to do after an embarrassing loss, it's to come back and show that that's not their identity, that's not who they are. So I hope the Packers look to dominate this one. I think they should dominate this one. We get the Micah Parsons returning home narrative. We have it all. This is a spectacle. Sunday Night Football. It's going to be awesome. I'll take Packers minus 6.5. I'll take them on the money line, and I'll take the over here. I think we get points. I think the Packers may put up 30 on their own just because of the ability they have to hopefully exploit a pretty bad Dallas defense. And then our 2 Monday night games, I'm not excited for. This is a divisional matchup, but I have no clue. I would not bet it. You can see I'm kind of hedging myself here. Give me the Dolphins on the money line, but I guess I like the Jets by 3. Jets looked good at the end of last game with Tampa Bay and showing some promise there. The Dolphins looked good against the Bills, showing that they could compete with division opponents until like the last 6 minutes. So it's the NFL, baby, and that's why we love it, and I love it because I don't know. If I could predict every game, we wouldn't be here, right? Well, you guys might, but it wouldn't be as fun. So this is one where I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll take the Dolphins to win outright, but the Jets plus 3 don't sound too bad either. There you go. And then lastly, you got the game in Denver. Where did Jake Browning go? Guy was supposed to be like this all-star backup QB, and he did not look it against the Vikings. I don't think it gets easier this week against a Denver defense, but I think they do enough to run the ball and establish some more plays within their real playmakers, Jamar Chase and Chase Brown, T. Higgins. I can't imagine them looking as bad as they did in Minnesota for 2 weeks in a row. They could prove me wrong, but I'll take them plus 7.5. I'll also take the over. And this is Bo Nix's shot to figure it out. He's not looked. Let me say this: if Caleb Williams had the stat line that, this is a good example. C.J. Stroud and Bo Nix are playing very similar games, and we're hearing a lot of talk about C.J. Stroud. Now, I get the expectations for Stroud coming in from Ohio State and being a highly touted guy are a little bit different than the expectations maybe for Bo Nix. But the point of the matter is Bo Nix has not looked great. This is a shot to figure it out. And I think he does enough to win the game, but I think it's closer than a touchdown and a half. So there's my week 4 picks. We did our weekend review. We did our power rankings yesterday. Those videos are out if you want to watch them. Spreads and totals is done. I had a question on my home run video. When are you going to do touchdown props? Where you been? Lady Jim and I'm doing them. So we are going to have touchdown props tomorrow and then player props Friday. Both of those have been profitable, and I have been betting those, and I have been giving unofficial plays every week. So that feels good to say, hey, I am betting this. If you bet this, you'd be up money. That's how this should be done, I guess. I don't know how it should be done. I'm doing what I feel comfortable with doing, and I'm doing what I think I should be doing, and that's the thumbnail I used last week, and I'm going to go edit this thumbnail and put it up. It's 20-minute long video. Goodbye. I love you.